Thank you, Coach, and thank you to Spring Arbor for everybody who had their hand in this event. It's been great so far. Amber and I, my wife, this is one of the first nights away from the 3 kids, so it's kind of special for us as well. But I'm excited to be here for the opportunity to celebrate Micah Lancaster and some other incredible people that are part of this university. It's a true honor for me to be a part of this. Let me start out by saying that there's no way that I can truly describe Micah in just a couple of minutes. I can't describe what it stands for. All he's done in Spring Arbor and after Spring Arbor and before. I know a big part of today is celebrating what Micah's done on the basketball floor. And I'm going to share a few memories that I have with Micah on the basketball floor. But as good as Micah was at basketball, as hard as he trained, as impressive as some of the records he set in high school and in college, as successful as he's continuing to be in building a basketball training empire that he's building right now, in my opinion, that all pales in comparison to what really defines Micah. I think Micah is best defined by the type of friend that he is to me and others, the type of husband and father he is to Kristen and his 3 boys, and most importantly, the type of relationship that he has with God. I think that I can speak for Micah when I say that that's the stuff that really matters to him. That's what I respect most. So I'm going to move on to basketball now, but I think I would have been doing him a disservice if I were to only talk about basketball. So Micah's got a lot of great characteristics. I think the one that stands out to me the most, I can't talk about them all, is his motivation. As a self-motivated person that I've ever met in my life, and I doubt I'll ever be motivated as Micah is. He's had a lot of things in his life. When he was younger, he was always told that he's too small, too short to have a long basketball career. But because of that, at a young age, he developed a plan that he put into place so that if he could do that, he would accomplish some pretty special things. And so from a young age, he's been more motivated than anybody else. He's worked harder than anybody else, and he's done it. And even today, he continues to get better and make thousands of basketball players better around the world. His work ethic is also contagious. I know he's a hard worker himself. We came into Spring Arbor the same year, 2002, and I considered myself a hard worker up to that point. What I considered a hard worker was I shoot around every day, I had a place to pick up ball. That was what I considered hard work. That was until I met Micah. He definitely changed the way that I viewed somebody working hard. I think the best example of that is after our freshman season, we decided that we were going to devote ourselves to the game of basketball in the summer. So every 2 weeks, we would alternate whose house that we spent the time at. So started out the summer, I was at his house for 2 weeks. He came to my house 2 weeks after that, all together throughout the summer. And I didn't really know what was going to happen. I think Micah knew, but every single day, this is what we did. We'd wake up in the morning, eat some breakfast, we'd pack a lunch, and then we'd go to the gym, and we wouldn't come home until we had trained for 8 hours a day. That was something that Micah had done even in high school, but really opened my eyes to how hard he worked and how hard that you need to work if you want to be successful. I know I would never have done that on my own, but because Micah kind of forced me to in that way, I know that I trained harder than I ever have before, and ultimately I became a better basketball player because of Micah. Let me give you a couple of my best memories that I have about Micah and his time at Spring Arbor. I spoke a little bit about how Micah has always been told he's too small, too short to be successful. I think that myself included, every person that we played with, every opponent that we played against, they always had the same reaction when they first saw Micah, because he looks like he's too small to play. And so you could kind of see people when they saw that Micah was going to guard them or he was going to be playing, their eyes would light up thinking that they're going to take advantage of him. And then it was the best reaction ever when they actually started playing and Micah started to dominate. And it was funny to see that. Never got old all the way through his 4 years. Micah was good at just about everything on the basketball court, but specifically his ball handling, quickness, footwork, his pull-up jumper were all out of this world. His skill on the basketball floor was something that you just didn't see very often at any level of college basketball, let alone here at Spring Arbor. Recently, if you pay attention to basketball at all, you see a lot of different training methods that are becoming more and more popular. Those are the training methods that Mike has been doing for 15, 20 years. A lot of things that he just thought of because he's got a creative mind there. So it's not a surprise to me to see how skilled he was and how good a teacher he is, that he's been so successful on the floor and then afterwards also with his business. Mike, I can tell you he was amazing to play with for 4 years. I know he was amazing to watch for fans and for the coaches and players that played with him. Stats are some of the best ever in Spring Arbor history. Second leading scorer in school history, about 2,400 points. Most assists in school history, 751. Most free throw makes and attempts in school history, and most games played at Spring Arbor. A lot of great games that he had. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but a couple that really stood out to me as I was thinking about this. His freshman year at Tri-State, wasn't starting at that point yet. We were down big at halftime. Came out of the locker room, started in the second half. We were down 17 in the second half. Micah scores 34 points. Almost all of those in the second half. We just do a comeback victory. And that was kind of his taking off point after that. And everything else was history. Junior year, next one, conference tournament game, so a big deal. On the road, Micah hit a buzzer-beating game-winning shot to send us to the next round. That was probably one of his more memorable shots. And then multiple 40-point scoring games and higher. Senior year at Taylor. Taylor was a top 5, top 10 team. Micah scored 42 points, and I'm guessing 25 minutes or so of gameplay that game. One of the best games that I'd ever seen at that point. I know I look back at it, it gets better and better each year, but I don't even think he missed a shot that game. He was incredible. Three-time All-American, 4-time All-Conference player, led us to 2 NCCAA national championships our junior and senior year. I'm grateful that I was able to play the game of basketball with Micah. I know that a lot of his former teammates and coaches and fans were grateful for the opportunity to be a part of it, but more than that, I'm grateful that he's still my friend to this day. So, Micah, come on up.
I was going to write a speech, but I spent all my time writing mics. He did pretty good, though, I think. We left a couple things out, but no, this is an honor, to be here and to be able to experience this is an amazing thing. Obviously, when you're talking about being inducted to a Hall of Fame of a whole athletic program, and you get to join a class of a lot of amazing people and more amazing people and athletes that will be inducted in the future. The main thing that I'd like to do is kind of start off with a story. I've been able to, since playing here at Spring Arbor, been able to start a company called Impossible Training. And, we've become the world's largest basketball training organization, and we train players all over the world. And I've been able to spend time with work with different NBA players, but also I've heard just some amazing stories from people that I've had relationships with. And so I think you'll appreciate the athletes in here. This particular story. A good friend of mine is D. Brown. I don't know if anyone's familiar with him. He played for the Celtics. He won. You like D. Brown? Okay, not that one. So we're talking about this D. Brown, that D. Brown, who won the slam dunk contest, and he's an assistant coach for the Denver Nuggets. And so when D. Brown was drafted to the Boston Celtics, he was going to be playing with Larry Bird and Kevin McHale. And so Kevin McHale came to D. Brown right away and made him a bet. And he basically said, if you ever beat Larry Bird to practice from now until the All-Star break, I'll give you $20,000. So that was the big stakes bet. And so D was like, obviously, I'm going to take that bet. I can beat Larry Bird practice. And so the first practice comes around, D gets there a little bit early, and of course Larry Bird is there shooting. So then the next day he's there a little bit earlier, and Larry Bird is still there shooting. So So a couple weeks later go by, and he tries to beat Larry to the gym, so he gets there a couple hours early, and Larry's there shooting. So he starts to go extreme. He goes 3-4 hours before practice, and Larry Bird is there shooting. And so as the time goes on, he just continues trying to get there earlier and earlier, and he never beats Larry to the gym. And so then he starts getting a little bit crazy about it because he's got to win this bet. So when they have practice at 2 p.m., he starts showing up at 8 a.m. And when he gets there, Larry Bird just finishes up taking a couple shots, says 5D, and walks out. He even takes it to the extreme right before the All-Star break so he can try to win the bet to get there at 5 a.m. Larry Bird, right when D walked to the gym, takes one more shot, says hi to D, and walks out. So all the way through the All-Star break, Lee Brown never beats Larry Bird to practice. So he's got to pay Kevin McHale's $1,000. He loses the bet. And so when he goes to Kevin at that point and says, "What's up? You know, why is he always there? Sometimes he's not even sweating, and he'll just shoot and he'll leave." And Kevin just simply said, "All I had to do was tell Larry about our bet. He's not getting anything. That's all I had to do was tell him." And he went out and hired a private investigator to watch you when you left your house. And when you got up to go to the gym, they called me. I live closer to the gym than you. He lives closer to the gym to you, and he beat you to the gym. So I heard that story right when I kind of got into training NBA players and really kind of realized how crazy so many of us are when it comes to basketball. And so many of these people who've been super, super successful are just insanely competitive and not even having anything to do, Larry didn't have to win that bet, but to him it was his reputation, it was his legacy, it was so much more than his work ethic. And to me, those are the types of qualities that I've been really attracted to, is not only how hard you can work, but how well you can plan, and how well you can have a vision, and how well you can follow that process. And so I just think there's so many qualities of those types of things that we can all take with us in terms of not necessarily going over the top, but just of how it's so much more than just working hard. And so I've kind of gotten past playing days now, and so much of my memories of basketball. I think high school were glory days. I think I had the most fun. It was the most pure. College, I learned the most. When I look back at my college career, it's just the lessons that I learned that have brought me into what I'm doing now. And so you can kind of look back and compare all the different things that have happened. But I think the biggest lessons that I've been able to learn through the experiences of playing college basketball here at Spring Arbor and having phenomenal teammates and roommates and best friends like Mike Folker is just how to go about living purposefully and having a plan in everything you're doing. And so I think that it's extremely important, especially as there's some current basketball players here now and different athletes from different sports to kind of share a little bit of what I would basically say might be a lesson that some of us can take away. So I'm going to go into my motivational speaking mode for a second. That's one of the things I really enjoy doing now. But there's one particular lesson that I think has a lot of power to it, and so I'd just like to quickly share it. One of the things that I was told all kind of through growing up through different people, coaches, teachers, whatever, were cliches. One of those cliches was, pain is weakness leaving the body. You may have heard that one. Pain is weakness leaving the body. So that was something that I was always told, and it just didn't make sense to me. Because really when I think of that, pain is weakness leaving the body, to me it sounds like weakness leaves really quickly. So whenever I'm in pain, weakness must have left. And what I've noticed, just through being able to train and be involved in training more, and through having to work in different things, is that what pain really is when you're working out, at least, is proof that weakness still exists. It's proof that I'm still flawed. It's proof that I still have a long way to go. And so to me, it's always reminded myself that this is a very, very long journey that I'm going to be extremely, extremely patient for. And so every time that we experience pain and we experience struggle, it's just a reminder that we still can grow as people. And that always is something that I have been able to latch onto in terms of my journey, whether or not it's being told that I'm too small to play college basketball, or being told that running a basketball business doesn't really make sense, all that type of stuff. When you're going through all the struggle, is to understand that process of struggle and that pain and that the weaknesses and those flaws are something that we need to celebrate along the way. Because one thing that I've really learned is that my weaknesses are my most treasured assets. My flaws are really special because they're proof to me that I can still get better. When I can find a weakness and when I can find a flaw in myself, it's proof that I can still grow. And I think the scariest thing we have as people is if we get to the point where we can no longer find flaws, we can no longer find weaknesses. Because to me that means that we can no longer grow as people. And so we're always looking, searching for ways that we can improve as human beings or as athletes or as businessmen or as Christian leaders. And so I wanted to leave that with you a little bit. And hopefully there's some athletes or some people in the room that could use that a little bit. But as a basketball player, I think when I look back at it, what I've really grown to love wasn't necessarily the games that I played. I remember you always talked about that, Coach, of it's not necessarily the games that you're going to remember. It's the relationships, the people that you have been able to go to battle with. And to me, it was also just the overall journey in the process. It's probably why I became a trainer, because I just fell in love with the process of improvement. When Mike and I trained 8 hours a day those summers, that's what I really treasured of those memories, of the overall process of doing anything you can do to improve yourself and get better. And I learned more about life in general through the process of improving than playing the game itself. And it's just a constant reminder to me that these types of honors and being able to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, any of this is just it's a result from a much more detailed process. And it's a reminder to me that no matter what we're striving for, the process is what's going to turn into the result. And I'm just really, really honored once again to be here, to be able to have this privilege, to see some familiar faces, to come back to campus and also just be able to plug into a much bigger thing than just me. And I'm hoping in the future to be able to come back and see who will be next and the different people who will be coming to this whole thing, because it becomes a even bigger family and just overall a special atmosphere as time goes on. So, but I just wanted to thank Coach. I want to thank you for just being my coach for 4 great years. And I probably wasn't always the easiest, and probably had a little bit of that Larry Bird competitive drive in me as well. But I thank you very much for the influence you had on me and for teaching me the things that you taught me, because it's really carried into me being a businessman and me being able to run on possible training and really doing what I'm doing now. And so, more so than the coaching itself, just the overall influence, I really appreciate it. And but I just want to thank everyone for your time. I don't want to take up a whole lot. Don't forget about Larry Bird. If you're any Celtics fans in here, share that story all you want. I think D. Brown would appreciate that, because he can't get it out of his mind. So, but anyway, I want to thank you for your time, and we can keep this show moving. So thank you.
Mike, on behalf of the Spring Arbor University and the Board of Trustees, I'm pleased to induct Micah Lancaster into the Spring Arbor University Athletic Hall of Fame.